Welcome back, travelers, to legendary lore and the end of the Kami War. The story's crazy. The characters are crazy. Let's get right into it. So, when we last left off, we had Toshi. And Toshi, he had arrived in Jukai Forest with that which was taken. And the Myojin Knight's Reach was very, very upset at him, right?
Yes.
Well, while he's there, the Kitsune are trying to figure out, what do we do with this artifact? Do we pray to it? Do we try to release it? Do we sing about it? What do we do? Do we polish it? And then he goes, Michiko, touch it. And they're like, no. We don't know what's going to happen if she touches it, because if she touches it and it explodes and she dies, and we'll be all sad because she'll be dead. And he's like, no, do it. It's going to work. Trust me. And they're like, that's the one thing we can't do. We can not trust you. That's one of two things. One, we can't trust you, and two, we can't let her touch the stone. They're the two things we can't do. And
so he saved them a bunch of times since deceiving them.
It's true. And that's why Michiko trusts him. So she goes up to him, and while she's doing it, she draws the kanji for sister and union on her hands. Or rather, Umezawa does. Toshi writes them on her hands because he says that by doing that, it's like a protective ward, because they are sisters as far as they're both taken and brought into this world essentially at the same time. And it's a union because they're finally being united, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she grabs it, and the spirit inside is freed. And it looks like an incredibly nude and scaly Michiko with dragon features everywhere.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's so cool, because she's like the picture of purity, essentially. And her name is Kyodai, which means sibling. And Toshi's the one who suggests it. And so Kyodai essentially shows Michiko what it's like to be a spirit. And then explains that she hates Konda, but that she's also afraid of Okagachi because all he has to do is eat her, and then she's nothing but another aspect again. She'll just be reabsorbed. And then Michiko tells her that we can rewrite those boundaries, that their fathers have defined their worlds their entire lives, but that they can redefine them. And it is the way of the mortal being for ages to give way to the young. The old stand aside for the new.
Did we actually not get a card for Kyodai?
No. The two sisters merge, and they return, and they're clothed and armed. Really, really armed. And then they begin to descend on Okagachi. And they basically fight this 8-headed monster. And they destroy it. They basically, what they do, they're fighting it, right? They shrink down Okagachi and bite off the last 2 heads they hadn't sliced off. And then Konda's there, and he's like, I'm here now. And then they decide that because Konda's whole deal is he wanted to live forever, that they should do that for him. They should grant him that wish. They turn him into stone. Sentient stone. Still conscious. And then they shatter him into a bunch of little pebbles. Still alive in that state.
Michiko's cool with just doing this to her dad?
Well, it's Michiko and Kyodai combined, so it's like their rage combined. And so Michiko basically makes Kyodai a promise that they were going to have to do, in 20 years, they will have things fixed. And so the sisters essentially, they take Okagachi's place in the cosmology. They recreate the border between the two realms. And what they want to do is create a blending of the two worlds, making spirit magic more accessible to the mortals. And so it's at this point that I need to get back the book, because Mochi shows up.
Oh no.
So we
have this little 2-mana card actually that's just the big antagonist of all this?
So Mochi shows up. And Kyodai and Michiko, they separated at this point, and Michiko says, he is a mischievous moon spirit. He facilitated and encouraged my father's crime, because it turns out that he was the one who gave Konda the idea.
He is the antagonist behind everything.
He facilitated and encouraged my father's crimes so that his people, the Sword Artami, could profit. And Kyodai's like, and where is this moon spirit? And he shows up, I am here, lady. And he has this huge smile. He goes, hail to thee, newly crowned rulers of both worlds. I offer fealty and service from the smiling Kami of the crescent moon. And Toshi goes, that's Mochi. And basically he goes, I am not a harmful spirit, oh sisters. I am playful and duplicitous, but I have never wished you ill or done you harm, not by action or omission. And they're like, but you told Konda to go out to the spirit world. Well, that was through ignorance and curiosity. I had no idea he would capture a living spirit. I never expected him to seal you up in a room for 20 years. Michiko can tell you, I have helped her several times, always at some risk to myself. And Kyodai's like, yeah, that's because she's nice and gullible. I'm a dragon lady. And he's like, I am playful and duplicitous. He literally repeats it. He repeats that exact phrase. And he goes, if you know Toshi at all, you'll know he actually admires me on some levels. He just doesn't like the competition. So Mochi's thinking he's going to show up and he's going to get everything to go his way, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's a very sudden change of events. Because Kyodai cups her hands and gazes deeply into them, and she begins to mutter something under her breath. And Mochi tenses. And Toshi says, are you trying to flee? It didn't help Uyo, and I'm betting it won't help now. And so a small curl of smoke comes out of Kyodai's hands. And then it starts to form a vortex, right? And what comes out of this vortex, Joe? What do you think comes out of this vortex?
What?
A chuckle. A familiar chuckle. As a terrifying ogre.
I was gonna guess Hidatsugu, but you said a story ended.
Yes, I know. A terrifying ogre steps through and says, I see you, blood brother, because he's got brand new chaotic eyes.
Oh no.
He has replaced the all-consuming Oni of Chaos and is himself. He's a spirit. He's the Oni now. He is the Oni of Chaos.
Oh no.
And what is it that he has to do?
Consume?
This is the Hyozen Reckoner oath. We will kill you. We will burn your fields, steal your treasure, destroy your house, enslave your children. We will murder your spouse, poison your pets, and pass water on the graves of your ancestors. We will do all this, and the only way to avoid it is if we cannot find you. And then he turns to Toshi, and Toshi and him at the same time tell Mochi, we've already found you. And he takes Mochi. And he doesn't just take him, Joe. What is Mochi?
A spirit.
Mochi is food.
Oh.
He's the all-consuming Oni now. He grabs Mochi, rips off his head and swallows it, and then tosses the rest in afterwards. It's insane. The story, that's how the war ends. And then we get this little, not really an epilogue yet, but basically Toshi, he leaves. He is captured by Chiyo. Chiyo was that moonfolk from way at the beginning. She's still alive, and now she wears a mask because when last he saw her, he left a demon dog to rip her face off. And so he can't teleport. Because he doesn't have any ability, right? So he's going to die. because
So he doesn't have
Chio-
any of the Knight's Reach abilities anymore?
No, and he prays. He's like, just one more time, please, please, please. And Knight's Reach says, fine, but never again. And so she planeswalks him away to Dominaria. Because the whole thing with the Kami War had not only weakened the barrier between the Kakuryu and the Utsushio, it had also weakened the barrier between planes and had allowed the Management of Knight's Reach to basically push Toshi to the next plane, into Dominaria, onto the continent of Madara, to start a new life as a blind old man.
So she's blind now?
She blinded him.
Oh.
Because apparently there's something else Knight can do. Now,
That one's more believable than the ice, in all fairness.
yes. And so, also, Umezawa Toshi apparently had green eyes throughout the whole story. He mentions his emerald eyes several times. But yeah,
Okay.
technically that's how the story ends. All that chaos is brought to an end because Mochi dies. Because Mochi's the one who caused everything. He was the one behind it all.
And Hidetsugu was the hero of the story in the end.
Hidetsugu, he's so good.
I mean, we know it was Michiko and everything.
And what's particularly cool is that because of when we're recording this, Joe will actually be able to put specifically those two cards up during this story. Kyodai got a card in Neon Dynasty.
Really?
And so did Hidetsugu as the Oni of Chaos.
That's right. That was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why the ability is red, because it's this guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Have we seen the Kyodai card?
Yeah. The Kyodai card was leaked. But it's going to be available.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why and he. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
I know.
That's so cool.
It's very, very cool. It's the coolest. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was the end of our Kamigawa story. Umezawa doesn't end there, as you guys know. So there's a lot of Dominaria to go into. Request what you want to see from us. We're more than happy to do it between sessions like this. So just let us know. Because we're not done with Toshi.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to go ahead and catch you guys with the next legendary lore. Leave a like if you like the video and subscribe because we're always going to be telling stories in our own way. Don't miss them.
Toshiro Umezawa.